Yes, 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 it is another Tuesday evening, and you are listening to Soul Perspectives here on CKUT 90.3
90.3 FM.
FM. My name is Kim Dominique Ferguson, and I'm in studios with.
Renee Jordan.
And this evening we have a wonderful guest who is joining us all the way from New York, New York, on the line that goes by the name Essence Revealed.
Hello, everyone.
How you
Hello.
doing? How you doing?
How are you?
Oh, I did not hear you. I am doing fine. I don't know what day it is. Apparently, it's affecting my hearing now. But it's Friday. It's wind down and pizza Friday. I live in New York. I can still enjoy pizza at least.
That's good. That's good. That's great. What part of New York are you from?
I'm in Brooklyn, Bed-Stuy.
Nice. How has this time been treating you?
I will say it's been an interesting, it's been a roller coaster. There have been days where I'm like, why? This is not the 2020 I had planned. And more recently, I'm like, this was the pause that I needed to do some things that I didn't have the time to really focus on. So it's been good in that sense.
Okay, well, let's give you a little introduction so the viewers can get to know exactly who we're talking to. We're talking to Essence Revealed. You're an author,
Yeah.
and among other things. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure, sure. My name is Essence Revealed. I am an author, speaker, teacher, internationally crowned burlesque queen. I won Queen of Most Classic Burlesque, Milan Extraordinaire 2016, well past the age of 40. So who knew I was going to be crowned a queen in Milan, Italy at that point? I worked for about a decade in gentlemen's clubs in New York and New Jersey and Las Vegas. And I wrote a book about all of the lessons that I learned working with businessmen over those years, and having to maneuver as a 20 something among them.
Okay, okay. So tell us a little bit about the book that you wrote and the lessons that you learned during that time.
Yeah. So the book is called Strip, A Stripper's 20 Life Winning Lessons. And so, for example, my favorite chapter is the first one, which talks about the no having no power over me, right? Because when people think about dancers, they just think about making it rain. Everybody makes thousands of dollars a night and goes home. When the reality of it is that dancers deal with rejection every single night over and over and over again until you find those guys that actually think that you're interesting. So, we typically try to avoid rejection, right? So I had to reframe it in my mind. And so what I started doing was collecting the no's, because as I collect the no's, I know I'm getting closer to that yes. So I'm like, okay, let me see how many no's I can get, because you can't
Okay.
get to the yeses till you start collecting the no's, right? I'm also a performer, so that means auditioning for work. Same thing. I can't let it be personal. So next no leads to the next big yes. No leads to the next big yes. So that was one of the 20.
Yeah.
And what would you say is the biggest lesson out of the 20 lessons? Or the one that
biggest
would apply to, I guess, most women?
I think it is the live in the zero F zone lesson. There are people that will say the F stands for fear. And there are folks like me that will say the F stands for, because when you get to the point in life when you live in the zero F zone, that's when it frees up all of that self doubt and imposter syndrome and negative self talk and all the things that as women we tend to let stop us from what we really want to do.
Mm.
So yeah, because imagine now, right? These last few weeks, there was the conversation about WAP going around.
Yep.
Yes.
And I'm just listening to this conversation and I'm like, do the people that know me realize that I'm an actual person?
Yeah.
So while you're making these generalizations about strippers and sexually empowered women, I'm just like, okay, thanks for telling me how you actually feel about me.
And
What is
what
your
were some
view
of the
on that?
comments that were going around? What were some of the things that people were saying?
Oh, women being sexual is gonna, destroy the whole Black community. children are going to be harmed. um, the typical, these women have no respect for themselves, low class, la 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 la.
Yeah, but
And all of these
the
things.
truth of the matter is, children have been harmed from before we had television.
I
Children
mean,
have.
I managed to listen to gangster rap and was like the cool cousin from America among my cousins in Barbados, and I
Mhm.
managed not to join a gang.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Imagine that.
I find it interesting how many people look at that video and then try to apply it to all women. Like, I mean,
Right.
as in we don't really have a choice. Like what one woman does, it sort of affects everybody else. Like they make such generalizations, you know.
Right. I'm like, women aren't a monolith. Black women aren't a monolith. If anything, I think that Black women have been put in a place where it's like, okay, I want to be considered intelligent. I want people to respect my opinion and what I have to say. Therefore, the more I cut off the sexual parts of me, the more seriously I'll be taken as a person doing whatever kind of work or whatever you're doing in life. When in fact, I think that does us a disservice, you know?
Why would you say that does us a disservice?
Because we're holistic as human beings. So sexuality is a part of who we are. Intelligence is a part of who we are. The need for community and family, love, all of these things make us up. So if you're cutting off a part of you, then there's just a piece that you're missing that could be used, because sexuality isn't just the carnal, right? It's also energetic. So you're blocking some of your manifestation blessings if you're like, no, I mustn't.
Not I.
So
Not I. I would never.
tell us a little bit about your journey, because you became through putting out your book and all of the work that you've done as a performer, as an actor, etc., as a teacher. You became a woman's empowerment expert, speaker, coach, and entrepreneur. And your biggest joy is guiding women survivors of sexual violence to drown out doubt and put themselves first and get their passion projects completed and realized. But before you get to there, you started off somewhere else. You started off smaller. Why don't you take us a little bit through your journey?
Okay, well, I mean, I was born in Boston, Massachusetts, in Dorchester specifically. I am the first person in my family born in America. I believe there might be about a dozen of us at this point. Everybody is from Barbados, Guyana, Canada, the UK. So, I am what they like to refer to in America as an anchor baby.
Right.
Because I was the one that allowed my parents to stay in this country. So I'm the firstborn also. So I was the oldest of two girls. And, I grew up in a typical strict Caribbean household. Do your homework, get all A's, go to school and come home. What is a curfew? None of that.
As soon as the street lights come on.
Yeah, that's it. I'm like,
You need to be
friends
in
who
the
had
house.
curfews. I'm like, your parents say you can come home at a particular time. I just got to be home or at school or doing an activity. So yeah, and then got out of Dorchester, because Dorchester in the 80s, that was when Reagan had sprinkled crack all over the Black community.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it literally was like I went from playing kickball with a bunch of people to people became drug dealers. And or people's parents became drug addicts. So it was kind of a crazy. I'm like, I don't watch things about zombies because I already lived through the zombie apocalypse.
Right.
So as soon as I could get out of Dorchester, I left. I went to NYU, and I stayed there for undergrad and grad school. My master's is in education.
You went specifically
then,
to the Tisch School for the Arts.
Yes, I went
Right.
to Tisch School of the Arts undergrad. I went to Steinhardt for grad school. And then I was out in the world. I had been auditioning for things since I was about 15 or 16 years old in New York from Boston. I would get on a bus or train, go to my auditions, and then take the bus or train back to Boston and be in school the next day. The deal was I could miss more days of school than allowed, as long as I kept my grades up.
Okay.
So I was doing that. But yeah, when you get out of college and you go to art school, whether it's visual arts or performing arts, they never tell you the part about having to go get a job. They just focus so much on craft, 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 craft.
Right.
So I'm like, here I am in New York. This is what I want to do. This is what I came here to do. However, I'm working 5 jobs and only paying expenses, period.
Yeah, that's New York.
Right, because everything here costs like, I don't know, quadruple what it would anywhere else in the world. And I got really bad at being an employee, because if I'm at a temp job and I'm going to audition for something that I actually care about, am I going to, give my loyalty to this temp job, or am I going to go after my dreams? Right. And the answer was always, I'm going to go after my dream. I'm like, I have plenty of people I can get references from. I don't need, I'm not trying to climb the corporate ladder. Mm-hmm. And so I had to figure out a way to be able to have my daytime free so that I could actually do what I want, but still be able to make an adult income.
Okay.
So then I decided to become a bartender. And so I was trying to get a bartending job, minding my business, and somehow ended up being a stripper instead.
So,
and
how did that happen? So the bartending to the stripping. It happened
because I am a terrible liar, and so I was trying to get bar jobs in New York, and they're like, they want you to have 2 years experience to work behind the bar in New York. It's kind of hard to do that when you're just became a bartender.
Right.
So, I made my little fake resume, had my references set up and everything, but I just could not get a job.
Right.
So I walk into this club because the ad said no experience necessary, will train. And they were looking for bartenders and waitresses and entertainers and, so I'm like, that's it. I'm getting a job today.
Right.
So I go into this place and I'm like, hi, I'm here for the bartending job. And the manager's like, this is a nude club, so there's no alcohol and you'll make way more money as a dancer. And I was like, no, I have a master's from NYU. And he's like, I got NYU girls here. And long story short, I decided to come back the next day. I spent my last $50 on a wig and some boots, grabbed some matching black panties and bra, and along my way I went.
And so during this time, was this like a secret to your Caribbean parents?
Oh my goodness, it was a secret to everybody that knew me.
Okay.
Just about. There were very few people that knew what I was up to because I didn't want to not be taken seriously, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to be looked at automatically with some kind of disdain or disrespect. So yeah, no, I didn't tell anybody what I was up to. Yeah. I told my mother after I quit that I had done it.
What was her reaction?
You see, I have a feeling, I think my cool auntie, everybody has a cool auntie. Mm-hmm. I think my cool auntie must have tipped her off because I said to my mother, I said, you're coming. She was coming to see my show. Mm-hmm. She invited herself to come see my show named Essence Revealed, which was about the whole living a double life thing.
Right.
So I said, you're coming to see this show. So I have to tell you that it is about experiences from when I was working in clubs, but I don't work in clubs anymore. And her response was, why not? Your legs break? And I'm like,
who are you and what did you do with my mother?
I was expecting from my Caribbean mother, Christian Caribbean mother.
Like, who are you and what did you do to my mother?
Yeah, so I have a feeling she might have had a tip off because I was just like, I cannot believe she's coming to see this show. Oh, God. I had no intentions of telling her about it.
And what was her impression after watching the show?
She liked it.
Okay.
She liked it. Yeah, I don't know what it would have been like if, we had to relate while I was doing it. I mean, she did come see me do burlesque once or twice. She came to like a little divey bar where I did a pretty comedic act. And then she came to a place that's more like live music, dinner and a show, upscale kind of, glamorous costumes. She told the people sitting next to her all about me.
That is my daughter,
They happen to be Harvard students. She worked at MIT for a lot of years. So yeah, they became good friends. They know all my business.
Okay.
So it's kind of still one of those don't ask, don't tell things. Like I don't know if my dad knows or not, and I'm not gonna ask him, and he's probably not gonna talk to me about it, and I'm cool with that.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair.
So in terms of the show, why is it that you wanted to reveal to everyone about the double life? Like why did you feel comfortable at that point sharing?
Right. I feel like it was kind of my journey towards self-actualization. I had gotten to a point where the pressure of someone finding out who I was and telling my secret was driving me crazy, literally driving me insane. Like, checked myself into psychiatric ER type situation. And I was just like, you know what? It's not even worth it. If people are going to deal with me, they're going to deal with me. If they aren't going to deal with me, they aren't going to deal with me. But I need to be able to just be me. And so I decided to tell my own secret through a show with all the characters that I've met over the years. There's some pretty colorful characters.
So,
that was my thing. I was like, let's Madonna it. Let's go. Let's just be like, and yeah, so now what?
So this show that you created, it was a one-person show. What kind of show was it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a one-person theater show. And I workshopped it at Wow Cafe Theater in New York City, which was also the first place where I learned about what burlesque was, because I didn't even know that there was a thing called burlesque until I was producing a theater show, a one-person show there. You work on, we all work on each other's shows. And the first show that I worked on was called Hypergender Burlesque. And I was just like, well, will you look at this? Stripping and theater? God made this for me. Clearly God made this for me. So I was like, how do I do that? And I started going to a bunch of shows and meeting the people that put on the shows and meeting other performers and just started performing.
Yeah. Just in case you're tuning in for the first time, we are speaking to Essence Revealed, who is the author of Amazon bestseller Strip, S-T-R-I-P, A Stripper's 20 Life-Winning Lessons. She's a women's empowerment expert, speaker, coach, and entrepreneur, and she's coming to us all the way from New York right now. We're going to take a quick musical interlude and get back to you. You are listening to Soul Perspectives here on CKUT 90.3 FM.